What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the North Shore 9 Postgame Show, powered by Primanti Brothers. I'm Jim. With me is Neil. Neil, Pirates lose in extras today by the score of 5-4. Means no sandwiches. But how you doing? First off, happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there.
Yes, happy Mother's Day. Please call your moms if you haven't done so already.
Yeah, right. How you doing?
I've been trying not to let sports affect my emotional well-being, but I hate the Cubs more than most things on this earth. And so to watch us lose, the Cubs didn't win this series. We lost this series. In every single game, we tried our hardest to give the game away. And it was terrible to watch. Outside of, Oneil, Cruz, this series was awful. It was terrible, and I'm upset.
Yeah, Oneil Cruz, again, a great game today with the home run. Just not getting a lot of help. Connor Joe too. Let's not leave Connor Joe out of this.
That's
I
fair.
feel like
Connor Joe too.
Yeah, Connor Joe deserves some flowers as well. But yeah, outside that, not a whole lot happening with this offense today or Friday. A lot of people kind of woke up yesterday, but yeah, outside that, it was kind of just the same story. They had their chances today. They had plenty of chances to come through today, and we'll get into it. I mean, they were 3 for 10 with runners in scoring position today. The problem with that, though, 2 of those 3 hits were infield singles that didn't result in an actual run scored. So
yeah, and that last one should have. Nico Horner saving the game was gut wrenching.
Yeah, and apparently my internet's messed up right now.
Your internet's quitting. Like, it does not. It's quitting on the Pirates.
That's what it is. It's just tired. That's what it is. It's been a long weekend for the internet. It's watched a lot of baseball. I had to sit through a 5-6 hour game yesterday. It's tired. It's working. So before we get into the meat and potatoes of this one, though, real quick, just today's show is brought to you by Bet Online. It's your number one source for all your summer sports this season, from MLB, golf, NBA, and NHL playoff stats. All the latest stats, news, and scores available to follow your favorite teams. Get the latest odds and lines, including the latest team matchups, player props, and odds on just about every sport out there. Head to the website today or use your mobile device to get in on the action. Bet Online, where the game starts. So, where do we want to start with this one, Neil? Do we want to kind of start just at the end of the game? I mean, I feel like the ninth inning in particular, there was a lot going on. First off, David Bednar comes in for the top of the ninth, and in true 2024 David Bednar fashion, gives up a double right off the bat to fellow Pittsburgher Ian Happ. So some Yinzer on Yinzer crime there. But Nick Madrigal grounds out. Pete Crow Armstrong moves to third on the ground out. So you've got a runner on third, 1 out. Things aren't looking good. But he is able to get out of it. Strikeout, walk, ground out. Made a really nice play on that ground out to retire Seiya Suzuki. So not the prettiest of ninth innings, but Bednar gets through it, and the team was heading to the bottom of the ninth with a tie game, chance to win the game.
Yeah, and Bednar's looked pretty bad all year. He didn't look good today, and I don't know about you. I felt when I saw him go for that little dribbler grounder, I was convinced I was being airmailed. I'm like, there's no way he's delivering a strike to first. He did his job. The bullpen was good today. A little antsy, but the bullpen did its job.
outside
until
of Chapman. We'll
yeah,
get to that later. Yeah.
until Chapman. But I have my own thing about Chapman because like everyone besides Chapman, or the guy we paid the big bucks for, did their job today.
Yeah, they really did. And as I said, Bednar was very shaky. But scoreless frame, he gets his ERA down to an even 9.00 on the year. So let's see if we can keep getting that number to creep down a little bit. But let's head to the bottom of the ninth, right? So the Pirates, they 2-2 ball game, bottom of the ninth. Rowdy Tellez leading off with the chance for redemption, and he strikes out.
Yep.
So 1 out. But then Joey Bart reaches on an infield hit. Michael A. Taylor pinch runs for him and gets to second base on a balk by Hector Neris. Never, he was doing his little wiggly jiggly thing, never stopped, pitched the ball. And Michael A. Taylor knew right off the bat that it was a balk. He threw his hands up in the air. Umpire called it. So Taylor moves to second on the balk. Edward Olivares, who was pinch hitting for Alika Williams, hits one between the shortstop and the third baseman. And Nico Horner basically saved the game.
Yep.
Right there. Makes a diving grab in the hole. If that ball gets into left field, Michael A. Taylor scores.
Yep, that was game over.
Yeah,
and you could see it. Like it felt, you could and then we were robbed of it. And you still have the bases loaded, no one out.
Yeah, because after that, Andrew McCutchen gets intentionally walked after Nick Gonzalez steals second. So you've got bases loaded, and you've got Bryan Reynolds, Oneil, Cruz coming up with 1 out. So you're feeling pretty good. But let's kind of talk about Bryan Reynolds because it was a rough game for him at the plate today. It's been a rough week for him too, just overall. Bryan Reynolds, the OPS now down to 710. He went 0 for 4 today, 0 for 5 today with a strikeout, and 0 for 2 with runners in scoring position. Again, that was a big moment there because he just needed to get the ball into the outfield. He needed to put the ball in play, lift the ball, hit it hard somewhere, and instead it's this little one-hop chop back to the pitcher, and he almost gets doubled off. Luckily, barely safe at first. But I don't know. Are you at all concerned about Bryan Reynolds right now, or is this just, he's had a bad week? I get there's a lot of problems with this team. Bryan Reynolds probably isn't in the top 15, 20 of them. Yeah. But he does need to be better, I think.
He does, but I feel like this happens every year with Bryan Reynolds. I feel like he just goes through these, these places where weeks where he just doesn't hit the baseball. And because he's got the money, because he's one of the few talented hitters on the team, when he's bad, it's really bad. And it stands out because the Pirates don't spend money. So you want him to be more, but I'm not really worried about him because I feel like we have this conversation every year. It always makes its rounds on Pirates Twitter about, is Bryan Reynolds washed? And then he comes back, he'll finish with an 800 OPS. I want to see him without Andy Haynes because you can kind of see him go from where he was in 21 and 22. And then they bring Andy Haynes in and it starts going down.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying it's all on Andy Haynes, but whatever. I don't think it's been a good relationship with those two guys. I don't think it's been beneficial to Bryan Reynolds because, he's gone from that 130 WRC plus guy and more to 115, and that's not what you paid for.
Yeah. I mean, for the year after today, he's got a 710 OPS, 104 weighted runs created plus. But his last 15 games now, a 556 OPS. So it's been a struggle. It's been a struggle for everybody. These last 15, 20, 30 games, however far back you want to go. It's been 707 OPS. So it was a rough, weekend, I think, for him, but he had some extra base hits. like, I think it's just what you said there, right? Like, he's one of the few competent hitters on this team. So when he's not performing, which is going to happen, like, you can't perform all the time. It's baseball. Like, it's a game of failure. You're going to fail more often than not. When he's not performing up to Bryan Reynolds like standards, it's very noticeable because the rest of the guys aren't doing anything either.
Yeah, and I, instead of complaining about Bryan Reynolds, which is fair, like I don't think he's like absolved from criticism. I just look at our 5 through 7 guys' OPSs in the lineup today, and I can't bring myself to be terribly mad about him because, well, even at his worst, this is probably the worst we've seen Bryan Reynolds. I'm not counting 2020 because it's a fake season. Him at his worst is still 200 points better than the guys we're trotting out with him.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. 5 through 7 today. If you want to get into the nitty gritty here, 536 OPS, 541 OPS, 508 OPS. That 508 OPS belongs to Rowdy Tellez, who went 0 for 4 again today with 2 strikeouts. He had his chances to make a mark on the game as well. 0 for 2 with runners in scoring position, but. How much longer do you? Because here's the deal. I don't think either of us expected much from Rowdy Tellez.
Nope.
And we'll talk about. There's a few players here I want to talk about because I think we're getting to the point now where like how long can this go on, right? And there's 2 people in particular I want to talk about. So let's start with Tellez. It's May 12th. Like this isn't that small of a sample size anymore, right? It's May 12th. Rowdy Tellez, 508 OPS. He's had 114 plate appearances now. He has 4 extra base hits, 1 home run. He's got a weighted runs created plus deal of 49. These are, I mean, this is like an Austin Hedges type performance that we're seeing here out of Rowdy Tellez.
I mean, wait, he's hitting worse. Oh, didn't Donardo say it a couple of nights ago? He's hitting worse.
He's hitting worse than Austin Hedges' career numbers. Yeah.
Yeah. Like he is worse than Austin Hedges. And at least Austin Hedges, you could say that he provided some sort of value, like intangible value.
Yeah.
It's terrible. Like, now he's not as bad as a hitter as Hedges was when he was in Pittsburgh, but Hedges is a catcher. This is a first baseman we're talking about.
Yeah.
This is the Pirates' first baseman we're talking about, and we've had a lot of bad first basemen. He might be the worst.
I think he is the worst.
I think he might be the worst.
I think he's the worst. I think he's the worst.
That is so hard. Like the Pirates have trotted out so many bad first basemen in my 25 years on this earth. And I don't think any of them have beat Rowdy Tellez.
Josh Van Meter was a better hitter for the Pittsburgh Pirates than Rowdy Tellez, and that's looking at the stats here, right? Josh Van Meter 57 weighted runs created plus, Rowdy 49, right? I guess my question is this: it's May 12th. I was willing to give Rowdy Tellez some time to figure it out, right? Like because of the way they approached this offseason, he's the guy. Like he's the guy at first base. He has to be. There's really no one else. This is the position that they put themselves in. Connor Joe is performing and doing really well against lefties. We had this conversation a little bit today on Discord. It was like a little 2 to 3 minute conversation, but let's have it here. Like,
okay, yeah.
Connor Joe is having a hell of a year, right?
He is.
And do you want to risk Connor Joe maybe getting overexposed and put into situations where he may not always be, great, right? He's got 146 weighted runs created plus right now. So like what they're doing with Connor Joe right now is obviously working. But do you play him more? Like, do you just say, you know what, you're our everyday first baseman, and maybe Connor Joe can't keep up this level of production. I don't think he can. Like even in his current role, I don't think he can. But
agree.
let's say Connor Joe moves into just the every single day first baseman, and you just cut Rowdy off this team. Like, And yeah, Connor Joe's production slips a little bit. He maybe turns into a league average hitter to a below, maybe just a slightly below league average hitter, right? In my opinion, you still do that because Connor Joe performing at just league average, which I think is an acceptable expectation for him, league average hitter Connor Joe. That is still twice the amount of production you're getting from Rowdy Tellez.
Yeah, and I don't fault anyone who thinks that. I'm not saying like, oh, like that's a stupid opinion, because I completely get it. I want Rowdy Tellez out of here. Like I want him gone. I'd rather see Jake Lamb, and I can't believe I'm saying those words. But what I would say is that I would take this level of production where Connor Joe is being used pretty carefully, I'd say. Like he is being given situations for him to succeed, and he is being given the best opportunities. And I think that's why we're seeing him hit as well as he did. Like I remember last year too, like he was really, really hot in April because he wasn't playing every day. And I think injuries forced him to play the outfield every day, and it just wasn't the same. Like he regressed. He wasn't hitting anyone really all that well. And so as much as it sucks, I would rather see him have those positions where he succeeds and hits the ball really well, as opposed to making him just go to a below league average player, especially at first base. Like I think that's where I'm at. Like you look at the Orioles with Ryan O'Hearn, who, if you look at his Savant page, is ridiculous for Ryan O'Hearn. But it's because he's only given opportunities to where he's going to succeed. And so I think they should keep him there. And I know it sucks because we've kind of made our bed, right? Like Rowdy Tellez or Jake Lamb are your other options.
Yeah.
But I think it just, for how struggling the offense is, how much it struggles, I want Joe to be hitting the way he is for as long as possible. So that's where I'm at.
So are you at the point though where are you willing to give Rowdy some more time, or is it Jake Lamb time?
It's Jake Lamb time. I don't know how you can continue this. I don't know how Rowdy Tellez can survive on this roster. I know they gave Yoshi Tsugo till like July, but that was the second year of the rebuild. We need to be kicking things into gear if we're actually serious about winning, or go get Brandon Belt. Like Brandon Belt is still a free agent. I bet he would sign for a little bit of money. Like it can't be worse than this.
Yeah. I'm with you. I think they got to do something. It's been a month and a half now, and Rowdy Tellez has just shown zero signs of life. You got to make a move. Like this isn't something you can continue with. And it's not even like there's not even any signs really that he's getting better. Like he's not, it's not like he's getting unlucky or he's hitting the ball hard and, things just aren't falling, right? Like you can look at Andrew McCutchen and say, you know what? I like what I'm seeing out of Andrew McCutchen's at bats. He's hitting the ball hard. It's just not falling for him all the time. Like I can see that. But with Rowdy Tellez, 19 percentile in barrel percentage, 26 percentile in expected slugging, 7, like it's just not there. Like the underlying numbers aren't there either to support that there's something better coming along.
His at bats don't even look competitive. Like they are not competitive at bats. Like going into it, it's going to be a grounder or a strikeout. He got another chance. He swung at strike 3, got a timeout. He had another chance, and then looked at strike 3, and then looked at a pitch right down the middle. Like I don't know what he's doing. I don't know what we're doing with him, but he needs to go. And it's not like he's making that much money that it would suck to like DFA him.
Yeah. And you bring up Jake Lamb, right? So Jake Lamb is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10-year major league veteran, right? He really hasn't been a good hitter since 2017. It's been a while, right?
Yeah.
Now Jake Lamb is crushing the ball in the minors. He's hitting 359, 452, 543. He's got tons of, 8 doubles, 3 home runs, 159 weighted runs created plus. Like, he's crushing the ball, right? He almost has an OPS of 1,000. But if he just comes up and he does what he's been doing these last 7 years or so, it's still a significant improvement to what we've seen out of Rowdy Tellez. It's not going to be good, right?
And that is sad.
But if you can take, hey, you know what? I'm going to do this mixture where I'm going to sprinkle Jake Lamb in there every once in a while, but Connor Joe is still going to get, a pretty good amount of playing time. But instead of Rowdy 2 or 3 times a week, it's Jake Lamb. I'm with you there. I think that's an improvement.
I mean, it's not much, but it's something.
Yeah. So let's get back to the game, though. So that was the first person I wanted to talk about. Player number 2.
We probably have a few of those.
Player number 2. I'm not going to get too upset with him today because he got on base 3 times, but Jack Sawinski also is approaching. Like, he's just not getting it done. But he got on 3 times today. So we'll lay off of him for now since we're 21 minutes into this thing. But let's talk about that home run by Oneil Cruz. I want to talk about that. So
yeah, that was crazy.
4th inning, Oneil Cruz hits a home run. His 7th of the year, 7th home run of the year. It was the hardest hit home run since they started tracking this stuff in 2015.
The highest. It's the highest.
It was the hardest hit home run with a launch angle of 45 degrees or higher.
Okay.
Ever.
Yeah,
so,
I think it went like physically highest in the StatCast era too.
It was like 183 feet high. Yeah, just absolutely insane.
I think I saw a tweet that said like the Pittsburgh airport picked it up on its radar.
I don't know if that's true or not. That would be kind of fun.
I didn't think it was true either, but I thought it was funny.
Yeah, that would be an impressive radar system.
I can't believe Cruz only had 1 hit today. I mean, I know we were about to talk about the 9th, but I mean, that was an insane home run. I thought that was just a casual pop-up. And I know we say that a lot about like a few Oneil Cruz home runs.
Yeah.
But even Mike Talkman in right field there, like, couldn't believe what he was seeing. Like, you could tell he was really confused when I went over the wall.
Well, again, like, it's the hardest hit ball that high basically ever, right? Mm-hmm. So it's just incredible to me that he just does things that no one else can do. Right, Oneil Cruz does things on the baseball field that no one else can do, and now after yesterday, you've got another guy who does things on a baseball field that no one else can do with Paul Skeens. So like it's just the team's getting more fun to watch. It's just they need to put all this stuff together. They need a better supporting cast, right? Because you can see the core, you can see how this team could be good. Mm-hmm. There are pieces in place to make it so that this team can be good. It's just there's nobody else helping out right now. And you see what happens like in a game like yesterday when you do get some help, right? From some other guys, you put up 10 runs, right?
Yeah.
They just need to be better. They need some help. Like Oneil Cruz, Bryan Reynolds, they need some help.
They do. I'm not sure I describe this team as getting more fun to watch, especially not after this series.
I was like, yesterday was fun, and when the Pirates
fun until
when the Pirates were on offense. Yeah, like when they were pitching. We won't.
I'm not going on there, but like that was the most agonizing thing I have ever watched in a very long time. But no, like Oneil Cruz figuring it out, like. It's nice. Like, a lot of people were getting on him, how he was a bust. They were comparing him to Gregory Polanco after not playing baseball for a year.
Yeah.
And, it's really nice to see him like get really comfortable. And he's having fun. And he also made a really good defensive play to save some runs.
He did.
I don't know, catching that ball like on the ground was incredible. Mm-hmm. Oneil Cruz has been great.
Yeah, he's been really good lately. The weighted runs created plus up to 112 after today. And like you mentioned, he saved a run today with his glove. So that was great. I thought the Pirates played really, really, really good defense today until the 10th inning. And it was actually even into the 10th. Like Jack Sawinski made a really good play. Bryan Reynolds made a really good play in the 10th. But then Aroldis Chapman
And
basically strikes out Patrick Wisdom.
yep.
But Yasmani Grandal doesn't hold on to the foul tip. It was in his glove. It just squeaked out at the very last minute. 2 or 3 pitches later, Patrick Wisdom hits a home run, and that ends up really being the difference in this game. Without that home run, we're still playing, right?
Yep.
Or the game's over with the Pirates win. So that was really frustrating to see. Grandal hasn't really been too impressive behind the plate, I feel like, for me, in this first week that he's been up. He's not really stealing a whole lot of strikes. Doesn't seem like he's framing the ball all that well. Pass balls here and there. That was frustrating, right? But on top of that, like, Aroldis Chapman also just did not get the job done tonight after not getting the job done yesterday. And this is a guy you're paying $10.5 million to?
Yep, $10.5 million. Instead of improving the offense, you spent more on Aroldis Chapman in the offseason than you did on offensive help.
And I guess my thing here is, like, you're giving this guy $10.5 million. He's pitched 13 2/3 innings this year. So, like, this is a guy who doesn't pitch a whole lot. When he has pitched, he can't find the strike zone. He started off the year really hot, but he's been super shaky lately.
Mm-hmm.
The FIP is high. The expected FIP is high. He's walking over a batter per inning. He's 0-3, which I know, like, wins and losses, like, whatever. But being 0-3 means, hey, you're going in either close or tied ball games, and you're losing the game. Like 3 losses now on Aroldis Chapman's record. It's May 12th.
You stuck your neck out for a guy with questionable moral character who was supposed to be adding to your really strong bullpen. You ignore the starting pitching. You ignore the offense. And instead you get a guy who cannot get batters out for $10.5 million. I don't understand what we're doing here. Aroldis Chapman is old. Yasmani Grandal is ancient in catcher's ears. And just watching those two as your big offseason signings throw the game away is infuriating. Like, there's no other way to describe it. You had such a bad offseason outside of Martin Perez, and there is costing games now. Like Grandal, he dropped that relay home on Friday.
Yeah, that's a good point.
He had another pass ball. That pass ball doesn't go by, you're a tie game. Like, yep. or even regardless of the home run, like, Chapman has to do his job there. So all I can think about is how much more you could have gotten out of that $16 million you spent on Tellez, Chapman, and Grandal, because these guys are not major league players right now, and they shouldn't be on the team.
No. Like, if you DFA'd Rowdy Tellez right now, he doesn't get picked up.
No.
Like, I think he clears waivers. Waivers. Too. Yeah, Grandal too. Yeah. So, I mean, these are guys that wouldn't be on any major league team. I agree with you. We're 28 minutes in here, and we haven't even mentioned the starting pitcher. So let's kind of just touch on Bailey Falter a little bit. He gave up a 2-run homer in the first inning, but then settled in really nicely after that, and put up 5 straight zeros. Another quality start for Bailey Falter. ERA down to 4.15. He left the game when the Pirates tied it 2-2. Like, he gave up the lead early on, but he kept the Pirates in the game, gave them a chance to come back. You can't ask for more than what you've seen from Bailey Falter. Like, up to this point, you just he's over exceeded all of our expectations or our best wishes. Like, if you would have said, like, best case scenario for Bailey Falter on May 12th, we probably wouldn't have even said this.
Yeah. And I'm just Bailey Falter. I don't know how he keeps pitching well, because he got hit hard today. The Cubs were hitting his pitches hard all over the park. but he got the job done. And I don't know how many times I can get on this post-game show and say, well, the starting pitcher did just enough to keep the Pirates in it, and we couldn't close it out because it feels like it happens every other day with this team.
He definitely relied on his defense today. That's for sure.
He did, yeah. And the defense was good. Like, the defense showed up. No complaints here from the defense. And again, 6 innings, 2 runs for Bailey Falter is pretty much as I could hope for. You're right. Like, he's exceeded all expectations. And I guess if he's going to keep doing this, you can roll with the 6-man rotation and be mostly fine. I'd still rather see Jared Jones more often, but I get that they want to like limit their innings. I do get that. So
yeah. I think the 6-man rotation, and I think the 6-man rotation is only going to be through next weekend. Like, since they don't have any off days, once those off days start coming back next week, you'll see them go to 5. But as of right now, like, Bailey Falter's a top 5 starting pitcher in this organization. Like, and the fact that I'm saying that now after just trashing him all spring, like, he's done a great job.
He has, yeah. It was kind of like where like everyone was trashing Suwinski last year through spring training, and he came up and was a productive major league player. Like, Falter has been a very nice surprise. I think I disagree with the comments about taking Falter out just because he was getting real close to letting the floodgates open. Like, after like that 6th inning was rough. You know, he dug deep and got out of it, and that was awesome. But I don't know. I feel like you're playing with fire sending him out there for the 7th.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you there. He was giving up hard contact all day. It was just kind of getting lucky. That 6th inning fly out, walk, line out, like, there was some hard contact there. So I thought they did good. And I mean, and Luis Ortiz, tip your cap to him. 2 scoreless innings. He did a great job too.
That was the best we've seen from Luis in a while. Like,
he was pumping 98 a couple times.
Yeah,
we need to see that. I need to see that more.
And everyone's on the edge of their seat, like, oh no, Luis Ortiz going out for a 2nd inning, and then it was better than his first. Like that. Yeah, that was nice.
Yep. All right. I think that does it for today.
Yep.
Pirates lose 5-4. Appreciate all of you in the comments, all of you watching this live, anybody who's going to be watching this later, anybody who's listening on the podcast. We appreciate all you guys. Like the video, subscribe, leave a review on the podcast if you haven't already. We will be on tomorrow morning with Starbucks, and we've got a series in Milwaukee, 3-game series in Milwaukee coming up, followed by a 4-game series in Chicago. So tough little road stretch coming up. It would have been nice to have won this series, but now they've got to do some work against the 2 best teams in the division on the road. So see how it goes.
Just losing against the Cubs, especially like this, like, nothing's worse. Like, you know,
it sucks. Yeah,
but next time.
All right, guys. All right. Well, hey, we appreciate you guys. We'll catch you later. Thanks for watching again. See you guys.
Hey, you all. Thank you for watching. I know we try to provide the most entertaining content that we can, and we'd love to spread it to as many people as possible. So I know it doesn't seem like a lot, but if you could take the 5 seconds to like this video and subscribe to the page, it helps out so much more than you know. Thank you, and let's go Bucks.